Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today there is great news for all the airliner fans among you. The next study level airliner has arrived on the market with the Fokker 70 and Fokker 100 from Just Flight. The aircraft are available in a bundle for €71.99, or you can purchase the variants separately for €59.95 each. In today's mini review, I want to take you over my opinion of flying the aircraft for some 20 sectors now in the pre-release version, and want to get you up to speed on what the package offers. Now, we are going to start with a quick look at the outside model over here, then we're going to go over the cabin and the flight deck, my opinion on the systems, and finally the sounds and the flight dynamics. So let's get right into this one. The model is pretty nice, and I'm saying pretty nice, not absolutely fantastic, because if we go close up we can see a lot of neat features like the wear and tear on the aircraft's skin over here. You can really see all those pressurization cycles. However, when we're going like really close up, then you can see the occasional polygon count like on the wingtip fences over here. Now that is not a problem at all when you view the aircraft from a normal viewing distance. However, since Flight Simulator 2024 does support the walk-around mode, I would be inclined to say that, hey, you could add that bit of detail. Now on the other hand side, they do really save on performance by running that slightly lower level of detail over here, and the aircraft is performing absolutely fantastically on my system, and that is what I can say with certainty over here. Overall, a beautiful model. You can see the occasional sparing of details in order to optimize the performance, and that really shows its effect, and overall a beautiful looking outside model. Now let's go inside and open up that door over here and have a look at the flight deck and the cabin. So we are going to start with a quick look at the passenger cabin, and over here you will find loads of features. You can control the lighting panels, you can control the call panel, you can control the workstation panels, and you can even control the water boiler if you absolutely desire to do that. Now, in the passenger cabin itself, you've got a classical 3-2 seating, and just taking a seat at one random seat over here, that's the level of detail you're getting right here in the cabin. Again, as you can see, it's not as high detailed as, for example, the PMDG or the Phoenix are nowadays, but then again, the airplane gets superb performance, so the little lower level of detail that Just Flight has chosen to go with definitely does once again show in terms of the aircraft's performance. So overall, a well done compromise. Now we can go all the way to the back over here, but in the back there's really just a couple of storage compartments and that type of stuff. So this is what the aircraft looks like. This is also what the economy seats look like. So not a big difference between the seats in the front and the seats in the back. A couple of nice textures over here on the headrest covers, so that's pretty neat. Overall, a very well done cabin. Not the highest level of detail we've ever seen, but then again, a good compromise between the airplane's performance and the airplane's visual. Overall, something that I am really happy with. I think they struck a very nice middle ground there. Now going into the flight deck, we've got a couple of very nice things to show over here, but let's just start with the level of detail that we find in the modeling in the flight deck. If we zoom like really close in, you can see everything stays absolutely sharp, and fantastic textures and wear and tear on those buttons over here as well. Overall, a very authentic flight deck. You can find some wear and tear and buttons where, you know, you would wear them out a little quicker. So overall, really well done model. Like over here, the APU button, the emergency light button, the wipers. You get what I'm talking about. Engine start panel, for example. Why does someone have to hit the doorbell while I'm recording a video? No, ain't gonna open right now. It's just Amazon delivering something for the neighbors anyway. So, you get the idea of an absolutely fantastic looking flight deck over here. Also, if you look at the level of detail of the covers over here on the GPWS inhibit switches, Really, really nice modeling, really well done. Also a lot of neat features in here. You do have the electronic flight pack, of course. Then you do have the sunshades, which you can move around like this and pretty much place them wherever you want them. That is looking all pretty amazing and gives you the impression of being on a Fokker flight deck. Now, you can also extend the jump seat down here, which is a very interesting construction over here. I don't want to imagine having to do a line check in this airplane. I mean, this is going to get so cramped. So cramped. Overall, a beautiful model. Very well done. Now let's go ahead and talk about a couple more features. You can put your checklists down here. You can even put your own custom stuff down here. You do have the standard airplane checklists, and then you could also put your own stuff over there. You do have a tutorial, what ClickSpot does what, and that type of stuff. So that's some pretty cool stuff that you can find down here. That is all modeled. Now, let's talk about the airplane's system, because the airplane's systems are just really, really well done. They're one of the fantastic parts of the aircraft, and I haven't seen systems that are modeled that well in a very, very long time. And that is really something worth pointing out with Just Flight aircraft, because they do not just model fantastic aircraft, they also simulate fantastic systems. And I can truly say those are study level systems. And I can also say, after a lot of flying with the pre-release versions, that there are very, very few bugs in the pre-release edition of the aircraft. So the airplane is in a very good condition right out of the box. And that's a continuous pattern that I notice with Just Flight aircraft, that they just develop them to a very high standard before the release, while other developers often have that tendency to release aircraft early to continue funding the development. Just Flight doesn't do that. They really develop their stuff not to perfection, but to a very high level that's really doing those airplanes justice. Now, I'm not going to go over the entirety of the systems here. My general experience with the aircraft, though, is that it works pretty well. You do get the occasional bug from every now and then, but again, a lot less than you would see with the majority of Flight Simulator releases. One thing that's really worth pointing out with the aircraft as well is the night lighting. So let's just go and turn this to darkness over here. Now that's a little bit of backlighting here from the airport itself. But let's go ahead and just have a look. So we do have the dome light down here, which illuminates the backside of the flight deck. And then we do have all the different controls for the front. So let's just go ahead and start with the panel backlighting here for the overhead panel, which is just looking amazing when you're flying this at darkness. The same goes for the pedestal panel over there. And then we can also turn the lighting up for the main panel and the auto-flight control panels, like that. Now the next ones are really one of my favorites. That is the panel backlighting. I mean, look at that. They've really done an awesome job on those. The same goes for the auto-flight control panels. That's just looking really, really good. And finally, if we do turn all of those back down for a bit, then we do of course also have the storm light in the aircraft with a button down here, which simply turns everything up at once. So that's overall really, really cool. You can also hear an idea of the sounds over here. Now, if you want to experience the full soundscape, that would be beyond the scope of a video like this one. So what I would recommend here is that you just watch one of my full flight videos or the tutorial video in order to get familiar with the way the airplane sounds. Overall, I'm really, really happy with the sounds. Just Flight have once again done an awesome job, like they usually do with their own developments. So overall, once again, fantastic lighting and a fantastic soundscape. Now let's talk about the aircraft's flight dynamics, because there is one thing that I have to criticize on those. Now, the airplane overall taxis really well, flies really well, but it is rather difficult to maintain a certain approach speed with the airplane in landing configuration, and you easily get speed deviations of some plus minus 10 knots. those plus minus 10 knots have a huge effect on the flight model, which makes it rather hard to control the airplane precisely and maintain a precise glide slope. Now, that's maybe critique on a little high level over here, but I would absolutely hope that they would revisit that, because I cannot believe that the real airplane was that sensitive to maintaining a vertical path on the final approach. Now, Just Flight do have real-world Fokker pilots on their team, including Fokker instructors, so I am sure they have the expertise on hand to get that up to speed. And remember, this is an initial release version. My experience is even based on a pre-release version, so I am sure that we are gonna see updates over there. I will most certainly push them into that direction. Now, with all of that said, do I think those €71.99 are justified for the airplane? Absolutely. So the Fokkers are simulated most certainly to a study level system depth. They have a couple things that still need to be added, like the secondary flight plan down there in the FMS. So a few things over there that do need an improvement, but then again, this is Just Flight's first electronic flight instrument system, so let's give them the benefit of a doubt over there and give them a couple weeks or month to improve on that. However, overall the plane is in a really good shape, and I absolutely enjoy flying it. I would absolutely recommend the airplane to anyone asking, and I think the price is more than justified for what you actually get. And that, guys, is my mini review of the Just Flight Fokker 70 and Fokker 100. A fantastic airplane that I do really enjoy flying, and that you are absolutely gonna see a lot more often on this channel in the future. Also, beautiful external lighting over there as well. Just gotta point that one out as well. And that, guys, is my mini review of the Just Flight Fokker 70 and Fokker 100. Thank you very much for watching. Now, go ahead and head over to justflight.com to purchase the aircraft. Thank you also to Just Flight for providing me with the pre-release version of the airplane to do my previous flights, my tutorial, and of course this mini review. Then again, I did try to stay as objective as possible over here, but just for you guys to have in mind, I did receive a free version of the aircraft, and even though I do attempt not to let this influence me, you never know what happens on a subconscious level over there, so just to have that one in mind. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed today's video. Leave your feedback in the comments underneath, and let me know if you've gotten the Fokker and if you like it as much as I do. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and then I'm really looking forward to see you all again on the next one.